The diagnostic criteria are used by clinicians, geriatricians, neurologists, psychiatrists to help ascertain who might have Alzheimer's disease or other dementias or mild cognitive impairment, which is like a pre-Alzheimer's condition. The present guidelines were first formulated in 1984 and have not been revised since then. There has been much research in science since then that has given us new insights to what's happening in the brain. So we needed to incorporate the new knowledge in new guidelines. The changes are minor but important. We now recognize that memory loss is not the only thing that can lead to or be the diagnostic criteria for Alzheimer's disease, but it could be other cognitive functions like attention, confusion, spatial orientation, getting lost in the environment, and so forth. We also now recognize that Alzheimer's doesn't always occur alone, and it could be along with other kinds of dementias or other changes in the brain that weren't addressed in the old guidelines. Doctors will continue to treat patients much like they have in the past because there are no new drugs yet. However, they will be more aware of earlier changes and the possibility that other diseases are contributing to the problems the patient may be having. One of them being mild cognitive impairment, or MCI, which can occur before dementia, and was well known to the research community, but is now going to be probably more available, or the knowledge is going to be more available to the general community. These guidelines are going to have a terrific impact, or a big impact, on research, mainly because it's a paradigm shift of looking much earlier before symptoms occur in Alzheimer's and using biomarkers to identify those people who might be at risk for developing symptoms later. So the earlier we can identify people like that, then research on treatment can start to treat people in these earlier stages.
Translational research, in a nutshell, is the process of converting knowledge gained from basic biomedical research on a particular disease into safe and effective prevention or treatment of the disease. NIH supports a diverse portfolio of projects aimed at a number of therapeutic targets. A fraction of these projects target amyloid beta and related pathogenic events. I'm pleased to say that a large and growing number of projects are aimed at a number of other targets, such as tau, apolipoprotein E, neuroinflammation-related pathogenic cascades, multiple receptor systems associated with cognition, cell death, neuroprotection, neurogenesis. Drug development in general, and particularly drug development for a brain disease, is an extremely challenging process. The major challenge when it comes to drug development for brain disease is the mere complexity of the brain and the complexity of the disease process. This is why successful drug development begins with a major investment in robust and high-quality basic research that will provide us with an understanding of the disease mechanisms. Secondly, another major challenge is that the process of translating the basic discoveries to effective therapies is slow, incredibly labor-intensive, and incredibly costly. By its nature, it's a multidisciplinary process. It requires special infrastructure, special expertise. There are many steps to it, and at each step, there is a high rate of failure.
ADNI is the Alzheimer's Disease Neuroimaging Initiative, and it was started in 2004 with the idea of developing biomarkers for Alzheimer's. And biomarkers essentially are markers of disease. So if you think about cholesterol, that's a marker for cardiovascular disease. And Alzheimer's disease didn't have a biomarker or any biomarkers. And so ADNI really was set out to develop these so we can diagnose people earlier, and we can track disease progression, and we can do clinical trials more efficiently. Right. Well, in addition to the fact that we're just trying to validate and identify these biomarkers, it's a public-private partnership. It's pretty much one of the first of its kind, funded by the NIH primarily, but also industry partners and philanthropic organization partners like the Alzheimer's Association, all coming together to fund this initiative. In addition to that, there is complete and immediate data sharing with the information coming out of ADNI. The data that's coming out of the study are put up in real time as soon as they are quality controlled to make sure that the data is accurate, and can be shared with researchers, companies throughout the world can use this data. ADNI is absolutely achieving its goals. It's actually even better than hoped for. We have data that's being shared throughout the world by researchers and by companies. And in addition, the clinical trials that are being initiated now are starting to use the biomarkers that are being identified. We still have a lot of work to do. And so ADNI 2 has come about now that we're trying to go back earlier in the Alzheimer's disease process to see where the very, very earliest changes are. So yes, it's absolutely a success.